Hello, everyone, and welcome to our admissions webinar. This admissions webinar is dedicated to the international master's programs at our university, at Tampere University. And we'll be going through a lot of different details, and there's a lot of information coming your way. But as all of us know, the most detailed information is always available on our website. So we'll be going through a lot of the things that we have on our website also. So do not worry, you're not missing out on anything, or this is not about hearing for the first time about anything. So basically today we have a few things that we want to go through with you. But as we all know, our admissions office is of course available to help you out with any kind of questions through email. And of course, because with the holiday break coming up, there are some changes to our opening time. So in the chat box, you'll be soon getting some information about when to contact us and when possibly we are closed. But today we'll be concentrating on a lot of the information that you need and probably already have also. So through today, we'll be looking at first of some things, and then we'll be having a bit of a Q&A at the end. So first of all, next slide, please. Thank you. So these are the things that we'll be looking at today. So we'll be going through the different master's programs that we have in offer, so that you are reminded which of the programs are open for admissions this year. We do know that some of you might be already online and looking at some of the information, but not yet planning on applying this year. So we'll be putting up a little of a poll question for you. Are you applying already this year, or maybe in the future years to come? So that will be really helpful to let us also know if you are planning on applying this year or maybe later. So the poll will be up in your screens. So some of the questions we'll be going through will be answered all through the presentation. So we'll be looking at admissions process, the eligibility, language requirements, and such. So hopefully we can answer all of your questions soon. Next slide, please. But as a reminder, who we are. Tampere University, of course, the second largest university in Finland, with 3 very active campuses. It's very shortly going to be Christmas break, but for example, the central campus where I am at the moment is very busy. Even we have a small conference going upstairs. We have 21,000 students with 1,500 international students who are studying in our international bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs. Today, we'll be concentrating, like I said, in the international master's admissions. The research that we focus here is mainly due to the technology, health, and society concentrations. And of course, there's a lot of other things happening in our research field. Next slide, please. So this is the list of those master's programs. And please note, this is the first page of those programs which will be open for admissions this year. We have few of our programs which will be open every other year. So do not worry if there's a program that you've been looking at all through this year or semester that you want to apply to it. All the information about which programs are available for admissions this year is very well pointed out on the website, so you can't miss it. So don't worry that there's some surprises here. We'll be just reminding you here. So a lot of the programs that we have are open for admissions every year, but there's always few exceptions. The list is quite long, over 30 different programs that you can apply to. Next slide, please. And this is the second page. So all of these programs have the specific criteria. So of course, do visit the different websites of these programs to get the detailed information. But a lot of these programs are that they have very similar criteria. So they have some common criteria, but individually do check out also each of the programs. Next slide, please. So together with me today here, we have Sara from our admissions office. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfectly. And she'll be going through a lot of the information in the next round. And after the presentation, we can look at some of the questions that I see that you are already, everybody is busy asking. So of course, our lovely other admissions people are online in the chat helping you out, but we can take a couple of the questions if needed also after the presentation live here. So go ahead, Sara.
Yes, thank you, Joanna. So hello to you all on my behalf as well. I'm Sara from the admissions office, and I will go through the more technical aspects of the admission process when it comes to the master's programs of Tampere University. So first few words about eligibility. So the eligibility criteria in the master's programs taught in English consists of two parts: the Tampere University general eligibility criteria, and then there are program-specific eligibility criteria which add or specify information to the general criteria. And basically, the general eligibility criteria state that you need to have completed a nationally recognized first cycle degree. So in most cases, that would be a degree that is translated as bachelor's degree. And that needs to entitle you to university level master's studies in the country in which the degree has been awarded. And the degree needs to correspond to 180 ECTS, so European Credit Transfer Accumulation System credits, which basically means 3 years minimum of full-time studies. And the degree needs to be from a relevant field compared to the master's program that you are applying to, and it needs to be from a recognized higher education institution. And additionally, you will need to have a good command of English language for academic purposes, and I will go into more detail on that in a minute. So in addition to this, then there are the program-specific fields of studies that would be suitable for each of our programs. And applicants on their final year can also apply if they complete their degree by the 31st of July of 2022. So applicants who have not yet graduated apply based on the documents they have at the time of applying. And if they are selected conditionally, and they will then need to later graduate and deliver the copies of their educational documents after the graduation, before the studies start. And we have a good special instructions section in the web page. So if you are one of these students thinking about applying, then do check out those instructions in plenty more detail. And when it comes to master's degrees, we do not have entrance exams. So the student selection is made in the admission committees at the faculties on basis of the applicant's bachelor's degree, academic qualifications, and merits shown in the application documents. So a few words about the language requirements that we have, and basically there are two options for proving your language skills in English, so proving that you meet the requirements, either a language test or previous studies. And on rather small font on the side note, you can see the tests that we accept. So there is TOEFL, IELTS, PTA, and the Cambridge tests. And the TOEFL, IELTS, and PTA are valid for 2 years. And the test must be completed on the last date of the application time, so on the 12th of January. And because these tests are valid for 2 years, then it needs to be done earliest on the 12th of January 2020. And you can also see the minimum requirement for each test in the side note after the tests accepted. And because we know that these tests do get fully booked rather early, we advise you to book the test as early as possible, or hopefully if you have already taken one, then you can just relax. And about these studies that would be accepted as a proof of English skills, only the studies that fulfill the detailed criteria explained on our websites are accepted. So, for example, a higher education degree taught in English in Finland or another EU country, Switzerland, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK or the USA would be accepted. However, bachelor's degrees completed in English in other countries are not accepted, and you would need to book a language test. All the detailed information about each of the tests and how to submit the results is on our language requirements webpage, and I will ask my colleagues to put a link on that very important webpage for you to access. About the application time itself, so application time started last week, so on the 8th of December, and it will continue until the 12th of January next year, and it will close 3 o'clock in the afternoon Finnish time. So if hopefully you're not planning to leave it to the very last minute, but you will need to note that that is the specific time when the actual application form will close, and it will not be possible to submit application after that. And we use a national database study info for the applications. And if you have had a look on the study info web pages before, they used to be a light blue website, but now they have changed and it is renewed with fresh green everything. So if you have had a look on the pages before, then it's the same study info with a new, more modern look. So once you have submitted your application, you will receive a confirmation email from the study info service. And in that email, you will also have a link through which you can access your application. And you can modify your application within the application time, and you can upload documents until the 26th of January 2022. So that's possible, but making any modifications on the application text itself is possible only during the application time. But I think that the application form itself, it's constructed in a way that there are instructions in the beginning, and it will ask you all the important information that you will need to type in. And then at the end, there's a section for all the application documents that you will also need to submit. And I have the application documents in the next slide. So on the little side note there, you can see a list of all the documents that are needed when applying to a master's program, and you will need to upload them on the application form, on your application form online. And then you will need to deliver officially certified or legalized copies of the educational documents, so the first 3 enclosures, by post, so that they arrive at the same date, 26th of January 2022, and the 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So the same deadline applies to this as well. And the details of what kind of certified copies we need is listed on the websites in much more detail. Usually the easiest way for the applicants is to submit certified copies certified by their university that they studied in. Usually they make either certified copies of the original documents and then reissue officially certified copies for this kind of purposes. What is important to note is that we have country-specific requirements for degrees awarded in certain countries. There is, for example, Finland as well in there, and quite many other countries. So if you have graduated from an institution which is located in one of these countries, then you need to pay special attention to submitting the documents, and you will need to submit them according to the country-specific instructions. And there are countries like African countries, Australia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Bangladesh, Canada, China, Finland, India, Indonesia, Iran, Ireland, Japan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Malaysia, Nepal, New Zealand, Pakistan, Russia, South Korea, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, UK, and the US, Uzbekistan, and Vietnam. So if I now said a country from which you have graduated, rather long list, but if you heard your country, then do go and check the country-specific requirements from the web pages. And just to go through the documents, so what we need is the certified copy of the bachelor's degree certificate and the official transcript of records listing all the studies of the degree. And then if the documents are not in English as original, then a translation to English, Finnish or Swedish is required as well. So official translator, usually they are made by the university, or then the other option is an official translator. So those two we need as certified copies. And then the rest of the documents we need on the online application form. So a proof of your English language proficiency, usually that is the result sheet of the language test, then a motivation letter and a curriculum vitae. And for these two, we have instructions on our websites, but basically they are rather free-form documents that you can do according to your own liking and background. And then we also need a passport ID page, and if you already have a residence permit to Finland, then we need a copy of that. And then just to remind you that there are a few of our programs which have special program-specific enclosures that they need for the admission process. So do check the program webpage if there is mentioning of a program-specific attachment that you will need to submit. But if you apply to one of those programs, then if you haven't checked them, the last place when you submit the application is the application form, and it will ask you to submit these documents if you are applying to one of the 3 programs that has program-specific requirements for the documents. Then I think that on our web pages, we have a rather good checklist of 10 key points when it comes to the master's programs. And I think that that's, if you have not yet gone through that, that gives you a good idea of how things goes. And I have put a similar list on the page here, so I can go through the 10 key steps that you need to pay attention to. So we advise the applicants to check the eligibility criteria of the program and the general eligibility criteria to get to know the program that they are applying to. And when applying to master's programs at Tampere University, you can apply up to 3 programs, and you will need to put them in the order of your preference when you apply. So in the situation that you would be chosen to the programs, you would be chosen to the topmost program on your application. So the first option, and if you are not chosen to the first, then you still have the second and the third, but you need to prioritize the order of preference when applying. And it's a good idea to read through the instructions on how to apply as early as possible, but as you are participating in this webinar, you are already checking this item from the list. And we have a reminder to take a language test as early as possible if you are required to take one. And when the application time starts, during that, fill in the online application at study info. And then remember to send all the documents and upload. If you don't upload them at the time when you submit the application, then upload them by the deadline of the 26th. Yeah. And then a few words about the scholarships. So all fee-paying students has the possibility to apply for a scholarships, and you can apply for the scholarship on the application form. For the master's programs, we have the 100% tuition fee scholarship and the Finland scholarship available for the topmost candidate of the program. And I will ask my colleagues to put a link to the scholarship webpage, so you will see the scholarships that we offer there. And in addition to the scholarships, we do have an early bird offer. So if you are accepted to the program but are not given the 100% tuition fee scholarship, the early bird offer states that if you accept the study place and pay 50% of the tuition fee for the first year, you will not need to pay the other half for the first year studies at all. So that is rather good discount that you can take advantage to. And that offer is for everyone who's not given a 100% scholarship or the Finland scholarship. And on the scholarship webpage, you will see to apply for this scholarship, you will need to describe your motivation and academic qualifications to support your application. So you can prepare that well in advance before submitting your application. But once you have done everything, you can just sit and relax. Then it's our job. And you can wait for the admission results to be published, and that would be at the end of March. And all applicants will be informed about the situation with the admission, either if you would be accepted or not, and you will get the information on the possible scholarship at the same time. And if you're accepted, do remember to officially accept the study place and take advantage of the early bird offer if you have not been given the scholarship. And then just start to prepare your arrival to Finland as early as possible, as there are rather many things that you will probably need to sort out, everything from residence permit to accommodation and the practicalities of arriving to Finland. And one thing to note about studying at Tampere University is that our academic year starts rather early. So we start already at the end of August. So that is one thing that is good to already note at this point, that it will be at the end of next August when the studies would start. And I believe that finished my short introduction on the how to apply to the university, and I see that we have received some questions already, but I could actually show the actual way of how to find the application form from the web pages. So if I will, I had the admission services because someone was asking for that. So when you go to the web pages, you can find the section of the programs in the Study With Us page. So if you're interested in the master's programs, what could you be interested? Let's say that you're interested in factory automation and robotics, so automation engineering. There we have plenty of information on the program, about the studies itself. But then on the how to apply section, we have all the program specific admission criteria and everything. But once you have gone through those and you want to submit your application, there's a straight link to the application in Study Info. So the Study Info system has all the same information as our web pages. And there it is already saying that there are study programs available for applications. So you just need to scroll down, and there we have the link to the actual application form. So we could then apply. But the actual application form will start with the instructions. So it will guide through you through the process itself. So I will not go into more detail about that. But now we have that one program that you could now submit the application to, and then we could add the 2 extra programs in that application form, and then fill in everything and upload the documents, and then at the end submit the application itself. So it's not that tricky. But now I will ask Johanna to join me, and I believe she has been checking the questions already.
Yes, thank you,
Is
Sarah.
there something?
Sarah, thank you so much for the overview of the different protocol and a lot of the information about the documents, of course, because there's so much, even the country-specific listing that you had is such a long thing, that we do want to remind you that you need to visit the website and read all of the information very carefully, because it is the applicant's responsibility to make sure that you know what the procedure is, so that we can safely secure the full application to academic evaluation.